Hello, good evening,
Hi.
Vani ji.
Good evening, Jia. How are you?
Very well, very excited about this conversation actually. It's one we've been looking forward to for a very long time. You can hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, terrific.
You're
So
okay with
without,
me?
yes, very
Oh,
much.
oh, great.
Without
Yeah.
further ado, I'd like to get started. To everyone joining in, thank you so much. Today we have Vani ji talking us through and sharing her tips on low-waste solutions for the home. Thank you for coming on board Amala Earth. We are very, very excited to keep learning from you and to keep continuing to have these sessions, more often. And maybe today we'll start with the kitchen and focus on the kitchen, but then, slowly we'll look at other areas of the house and the home.
Sure.
Amala Earth, for all of you who are new here, is a one-stop curated platform for all things conscious and earth-friendly. And whenever you do get a chance, if you'd like to, you can, browse through our Instagram channel or on our website and have a look at some of the products and some of the blogs that we're creating to make this community larger every single day. Vani ji, also known as Worm Rani lovingly on Instagram, is the founding member of the Solid Waste Management Roundtable based out of Bangalore. This organization has been doing a lot of really successful campaigns on waste management and on education and awareness. And composting enthusiast, an urban farmer, a passionate citizen leader, Vani ji encourages citizens like you and me to adopt safer, non-toxic home solutions and to start on a step-by-step basis. So for most of us who've been following you, Vaniji, what we really, really love um, is that the way in which you teach us and the way in which you show us how things are done, they are step by step. They don't seem too daunting. Whereas when we look at incorporating or inculcating a conscious lifestyle, we sometimes don't know where to start. So before we begin, I wanted to just ask you, how does, when someone feels too overwhelmed to begin, where does one really start? And how do you, I mean, how do these tiny steps go on to shape the lives of us, the individual, as well as the community?
Yeah. No, thank you, first of all, for having me on this platform. Yes, basically, an understanding of why you're doing some things is very, very crucial. And I think that's the key to take on practices. Like, if you're going to go onto a path, any path, a deeper understanding of why you're going to be there or why you need to pick up certain practices is essential. Definitely, if you know that what you're doing is hurting the environment and that we are actually short of time because we need to reverse the climate change, and what can we do as individuals, at different levels, different people can do, governments can do, but as an individual, what can we do is a question all of us need to ask. And at the same time, be excited about taking on practices that are earth friendly, that has a positive impact on the planet's ecosystem. The planet is very regenerative, it will go on, but what will suffer is the life on the planet. So that's something that we need to be caring for, and look at how we can positively contribute to that. So I think once we get that understanding, nothing is daunting. You are on the path. You can take one practice at the time, and pick and choose which areas that you want to, transform first. It is evolving to be a conscious consumer, a conscious a lover of the nature, looking at the ecosystem itself to be, rewarding in such a way that, it lets life thrive. So I think these are things, and once you're on that path, people are excited. They keep upping their game and wanting to do better. So it is like, it is so it's never ending. You can go on learning more. So what I do is I only share. I don't teach anybody anything. So it's through sharing. So once you understand and you start a practice, it's so nice to talk about it to different people so that you're spreading the good word around. So that's also equally important, and that's what we at SWMRT, we believe in.
Absolutely. I think Vaniji, you put it very beautifully on how this conscious journey can start. We can start anywhere, and we can learn a lot. We can watch other people do their own practices and pick up what resonates best with us, because it's impossible to make all of those changes at once. And so yeah, so it's really beautifully how you conveyed it to us right now. When we chatted last, you spoke about how the heart of every home is the kitchen. And at Amala Earth as well, we couldn't agree with you more. So we'd like to sort of start there and basically figure out, um, when someone looks at making conscious earth-friendly decisions when it comes to the kitchen and our cooking space, where does one begin? Like, where would you recommend one starts?
Yeah. So again, when you look at your health, when you see the planet's health is good, your health is good. So there is a direct connect. So it's all going back to, what we eat, the kind of food that we eat. Are we looking at, food that is grown with a lot of pesticides, so what we bring home should be safe, because kitchen is the center point where the health of the family is completely centered around. So what you bring in, how you cook it, and then how you store it, and also after you how you serve it, and after you eat, the leftovers, what do you do? So basically, when it comes to a home, segregation starts at the kitchen. So that's
Absolutely.
the key to understand that 60% of your waste comes from your kitchen. It's organic waste, it's your peels. We all eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. And, so and we cook 3 times a day because we are Indians. We love making breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So there's that waste that comes, and there is so much other. You open up packaging, how where do you put what kind of, how do you, direct it away from going to the landfill? Because basically, if everyone understands that what leaves your home, a big part of it comes from your kitchen. And if it goes in a mixed form, what really happens to the
True.
environment? So you have all the pollution, you have the air pollution, the water pollution, and the soil pollution. So, and it ends up in water bodies and rivers and oceans. So the plastic that goes out of your house also is so damaging, and we really need to cut down on that. Having said that, practices of understanding how safe your kitchen can be is a great start, because that's the best place to start. You can start looking at, how do you source your food? Who is the farmer who grows your food? Right from there, how can I have less of packaging? Can I subscribe to a unpackaged kind of subscription where I get stuff that I can refill into mine? So we can look at all those different ways we can try. And then when you cook, what are the different ways to cook? We fell prey to, for some time, I was also completely into that, moved away from traditional cooking and, non-stick and quick cooking. It's all kind of Teflon. So they were all toxic material that, we were consuming. It is leaching into your food. That I transitioned to cookwares that were traditional, right? From
Absolutely.
soap, yeah, soapstones to, cast iron to, your clay to bronze and brass and a tin coated brass. So there are different traditional cooking, available. And it's so nice if people already had it and they put it up in the attic, you can always pull it out because your mothers would have used it sometime or the other. And then otherwise, there are so many people who are selling it. So we can always pick it up and learn to use, because that also adds on to the nutrition of your
Nutritional
family,
content.
your food. And of course, storing, plastic is something that you can't store food in, because somewhere it leaches. It leaches into your food. So it's again toxic for us. So the chemicals are there. And of course, stuff like that, we can all look at, different ways to do it. Yeah, and composting would be the best thing that you could do. What comes out of the
Absolutely.
kitchen, if you can compost that 60%, you're putting less
Lovely.
burden on the municipality plus on the landfill, and converting it, instead of it polluting, you're converting it to something, and you have your own little kitchen garden. You can grow your herbs depending on what kind of space you have, or you can grow your microgreens. So I think you can introduce yourself to what real food looks like or tastes like.
I think it's really wonderful how you said you wanted to stress on the kitchen, because there's so many different aspects to take into consideration. And I think for all of our viewers listening, and people listening today, I wanted to try and if you could help me break it down a little, to basically start with the cookware first, and talk about this revival of ancient cooking methods, but also utensils and cookware that we used to use, that you said that is now lying, in an attic or in a go down or in this in storage, which we now bring out and we toss. So we put aside the non-sticks and the Teflons and stuff. So when someone goes out to buy something like this, what should someone be looking for? And even within these materials, um, how does one know that someone is making the right choice?
Yeah, yeah, that's very important and crucial because we cannot have adulterated metal because that could actually bring in toxins. So we need to go to a person or find out people who are, getting it from how it used to be made. They are artisans who used to make them the traditional way, and they would source it from them. So I think we need to research a little bit to find out, because even if you look at the copper bottle, sometimes it's not pure copper, and that may not be
Absolutely.
good. And you store water for too long, it could be actually a reverse. Instead of it benefiting you, it could. So there is a caution that you need to first educate yourself how these are used, because there is a curing period for each of them. You don't want a clay vessel to break it. You want to do some tadka. You can't put oil in a fresh clay pot. You need to cure it. Same goes to soapstone, where you need to cure it for some time before you can put liquid and boil. But then there is the tin, pure tin. We make rasam in that. You can't, without any food, if any liquid, you can't put it on the stove. It will melt. So and also there is adulteration there. You could get, if you look. So they will say it's expensive, but when it's expensive, it is good quality.
Good quality.
If it is very cheap, maybe there's an adulteration. We don't know.
Adulteration.
So you need to research a little bit, find out where it is available. Luckily, I got in touch with a person who knew a lot about it, Meera, and she introduced me to how to cook in them, and how to use them, what are good, like brass. You can't cook any tamarind or any katta, that is anything with the
Anything
citrus, you
acidic.
can't. Citrus acidic, you cannot cook in a brass. It needs to be tin coated. All these, I remember my mother used to say that kalai guy will come. If you hear him, ask him to come. I need to put kalai. Kalai is
Hmm.
that tin that needs to be put on the
Coating.
brass. So
Hmm.
it takes you back and memories, nostalgia. That I haven't cooked in any of these. I know my mother, grandmother had cooked, but I have never cooked. Then my friend Meenakshi Arun, she's amazing. She's always sticks to traditional cooking. So I
Cooking
learned a
method.
lot from her too, how to pick, where to pick, ask questions. And, I think, yeah, we need to get the right source for all this. Yeah.
So one would be to read up, the second would be to sort of ask questions and figure out where this thing has come from, to check the
Yeah.
price point.
Yeah.
And while you said like reaching out to somebody who can help or who has these answers is really good when you're starting out to procure these. And very happy to share that some of this stuff with respect to brass and copper that you're talking about is available as well on our website for anyone who'd like to see. I also wanted to take a small segue into copper for drinking and the benefits that come with that. Are there things to keep in mind, Vaniji, on how the water should be stored, at what temperature, and how does it go on to interact with the water before we drink it?
Well, there's a lot of science that is available in the net. I think we can all read up, but basically, the copper is something that is good for you. I think these are one of the first metals that were used
Yes,
by people, and
yes.
storing them, but not in excess. You don't keep them for too long. But I
Okay.
think overnight would be good idea. To leave it overnight and then drink. So there is a lot of, they say it's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory. So probably if it is, we can always give it a try. I've seen a lot of, learned people always having the copper, little pot,
Hmm.
which they keep next to them when they drink water. So they've always used such things. So yeah, I don't use it very often, but of course, I always have some water in that. I keep changing, and it's very convenient to carry also. When I leave the house,
Absolutely.
either I have a steel or a copper. Sometimes it's inside, it smells a little. So cleaning is very important. So you need
Hmm.
to put something that is acidic, like a lime or something like that,
To
scrub
get
it
rid
with
of the
little salt.
residue.
Yeah, it's salt. And so I know only the basics on, there are benefits, that it's very good for your health is what they say. And yeah, as a practice, I need to keep filling, because the minute I get that smell, I'm too lazy to clean. It's so much easier to clean a steel bottle. So
Then
yeah,
it
if I
is.
get over that laziness, probably I should be using this more
More
often.
often.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. When we were
Yeah.
in school, we used to use the ghada in the summer
Yeah.
months, the matka, and we used to also have the copper vessels and stainless steel glasses for drinking. And it's almost as if all the stuff we did when we were younger, we have to sort of try and inculcate practices to sort of bring them back.
Yeah.
So no, this was great. Thank you, Vaniji. Moving on, I think I wanted to talk about um, a clean kitchen is they say cleanliness is next to godliness, and they say a clean kitchen is a great canvas to begin with. When you have everything in place and you know where everything is. But most of all, the kitchen, all the utensils, your working space is in pristine kitchen in condition. So when we talk about kitchen cleaners specifically, now a lot of us in many homes, like if you go and survey people's homes, you'll find there are lots of these Prills and all these other brands available, right? And I know you talk about making your own, but you also talk about some smaller initiatives and organizations that are making non-toxic cleaners from these materials. So
Yeah.
could you guide us a little bit on um, how making these swaps to a non-toxic, food-safe solution is not just better for us and our bodies, but our pets, our children, our waterways, and also what are the ingredients to look out for and what are the ingredients to try and perhaps avoid?
Yeah. So basically, when you look at cleaners, whether it's personal care or it is home cleaning, it is full of chemicals, toxic chemicals. There are things that are being discharged, and it is getting out of your house, and it is entering some waterway. It's entering soil or some river or ocean or wherever. So it will harm life in that space, whether it is in the soil or in water. It's going to harm the kind of toxic. We've heard in Bangalore, lakes going on fire, froth coming out of these lakes that we have in Bangalore. And it's all because of all this getting discharged and entering from households. And so there's one way to, for me, the complete transition to be absolutely non-toxic cleaners is anything that is natural and biodegradable. If you go back to your grandmother's times, everything that we did was sustainable, earth friendly, not
Harm.
harming outside or inside. It's not harming you, nor it's harming the environment around you. So basically, everybody knows, if you go back to your, a couple of generations, they never washed their hair with shampoos and conditioners and, all that. They had natural things like, the soap nuts and the Rita. That is the
Rita.
soap nuts, Rita. These pods come from tree. They are plant based, and when you soak them in water, and also shikakai pods. These are
Hmm.
shikakai pods, and these are, again, both of them are very good for cleaning. You want to clean your dishes with it. You want to clean surfaces, anything that needs cleaning with a little bit of soap. You want to clean your hair. So what I do is I just soak it in water, and and overnight in hot water, you see the kind of broth that it can.
This
So
is
then
shikakai or this is soap nut?
I did both this time, because
Okay.
I use this both as a dishwasher and as my hair wash. I wash my hair today, and I put a little bioenzyme to make it soft. Otherwise, it gets
Hmm.
very rough.
Hmm.
Bioenzyme acts like a conditioner for me,
Hmm.
and this is like, when you use it, it doesn't lather much, so you're using less water to clean it off. So you're saving water, you're using natural biodegradable stuff, that for everything that you need as cleaning. And this also can go into your laundry wash. This is also your laundry. So if you can make it, nothing like it, you just source the ingredients that is available in the market. And I also have shikakai and soap nut powders that I
Powder.
use. Yeah, liquid and powder. Powder is good for scrubbing your vessels. Like if you have, steel and your cookers and, anything that's stuck with milk or something to scrub. So using natural, not using the scrubbers that have plastic, but natural scrubbers that are,
Hmm.
made of natural
Coconut
materials, coconut
husk.
fibers and all that. Scrub it off with the powder. It keeps it. So you are using stuff that, it's good for your hands. It's not going to, over a period of time, you don't have to wear your gloves to, wash, because these chemicals are so harsh. Ultimately it will damage your skin too. And of course, bioenzymes, that's one of my favorites. And that's this is the bioenzyme,
Citrus.
citrus peels. So there is a recipe for this, and at the end, whatever, this is the one that is clear liquid, is called the enzyme. And this enzyme is a multi cleaner, right from my floor to my window wash to my stove, everything. So I put it in a spray can. I add a little bit of the soap solution
Okay.
also, and I spray this on tiles. It can clean your bathrooms. It can clean any surfaces. So it just replaces anything that needs cleaning, because this is it's an enzyme, and it is like a multi-purpose cleaner.
All
So
purpose.
within this, otherwise, if you don't have the time to make your own, of course there are a lot of people who have come in, who are actually giving such amazing products, which
Solutions.
yeah, solutions. Like I have one. This is a herbal hair wash powder, and it has not just the shikakai in it. It also has a lot of herbs. It smells
Oh,
nice, and it has different herbs. So you can check out what you want to buy and what you want to replace, and use them, because right from your cleaners, there are people who are selling. So you can check out.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm sure even at Amala, you should be selling some cleaners, right?
Yes, we have
Mm,
some really
yeah.
great brands on board that are
Yeah.
doing great work for the community at large as
Yeah.
well. And what I really like you said, is that a lot of these are all-purpose solutions. So you can use them on marble, on wood, on other surfaces, without worrying about like leaching or anything getting a like an abrasive nature. Like it's not too harsh, not too strong,
Yeah.
and I've used them personally. So that's great. A lot of people are actually asking for your bioenzyme recipe,
I'll tell
and
them.
also what they can do to minimize food waste.
Right. So bioenzyme is with citrus. I make only citrus. A lot of people make vegetable. It also acts like a fertilizer for my plants.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
and this is a plastic bottle. Always make a bioenzyme with a plastic bottle with a good head, because it's a fermentation process. And as it ferments, it will release some gas, and you need to actually release it every day in the first few
Yeah.
days. And
Otherwise, it might
it
explode.
smells so citrusy, you feel like drinking it. It's so good. So the process is very simple. You it is a There is a ratio. You take 1 part of jaggery to 3 parts of your citrus peels. You squeezed out your lime, or you eaten your orange. The peels of a musambi, orange, pineapple, or a lime. You have 3 parts. 1 part is jaggery. If the darker the jaggery, the better.
The better.
Yeah, the better. And then 10 parts is water. So what I do is I take 100 grams of jaggery, I take 300 grams of citrus peels,
Peel.
and 1 liter water. That's my proportion. Mix them together, put them in a glass, I mean, in a plastic bottle
Plastic
with a
bottle.
good lid, and then leave it in
Mm.
a dark, cool place, not in the sun. Sunlight shouldn't fall, because it needs to ferment. And then
Ferment.
every morning, release
Burp
it.
it.
Burp it. Yes, you release it. The gas will come out. If you've forgotten, because this is plastic, it will just expand. If it was glass, it would
It
break.
would break.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
will break. So that's why plastic is so. Repurpose any, you can source it from people who are using some Coke bottles or soda bottles or something like that,
Hmm.
and you can put it in that. And this is kept for 3 months. Basically, the clear liquid should come on top, and there should be no gas at all. And it takes 3 months. I actually put a date on top, and after 3 months, the enzyme is ready. So filter out the liquid part. That's the enzyme. The pulp, whatever is remaining, the pulp also can be used, like your kitchen chimney. It'll be greasy, so you can smear it. The pulp can be smeared, and then you can clean it off. So it's amazing, because it's become a movement kind of thing, where people are all making bioenzymes, and so thrilled, to use them as cleaners. it cleans your bathrooms, your commode, anything, any surface. It can be. You just pour it for some time and leave it, and then you clean up the surfaces. So for me, the bioenzyme spray is like the one I'm always holding, where I'm
Hmm.
spraying it and cleaning my kitchen sink, the taps. The taps will shine because it's citrus. And yeah, so and people ask, jaggery, doesn't it attract ants when you mop the floor with it? No, there is no jaggery. At the end of the process,
The
it has
sugar is
turned
eaten up.
antical. Yeah, it is the fermentation. It turns into alcohol, and then it becomes the enzyme. So you don't have to worry about it having any jaggery in it. Yeah.
No, this is
Uh,
terrific. I hope one day these will all become household names and
Yeah,
they'll
there
be
are a lot of
as
people
easy.
selling bioenzymes because people are not able to make it. There are a lot of people selling bioenzymes online, and you can always check out and buy or make your own. So whichever suits you.
Terrific. I think, thank you, Vaniji. Before we move away from this topic, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the scrubbers that you use to clean. So, are there any materials that we shouldn't use with some? So, you know how, like, different cleaning utensils, different kitchen utensils need to be cleaned differently. And depending on how they're being used, what you're cooking in them, they need to be scrubbed or cleaned or sort of looked after differently. So, what are your top choices?
No, I have only natural cleaners. I use only the scrubbers, the loofah, which is
Yeah,
it's a vegetable, and you
yeah.
dry it. That I use, or the this. These are
So
the only two things. So I don't use anything
essentially,
else.
what's used for the bath can also be used. The
Yeah,
same material can also be
yeah,
used
yeah,
in the
yeah,
kitchen.
yeah.
Okay.
Either coconut fiber, you can use that. So you get even brushes with these natural materials to
So they're
scrub and all that.
wooden and they have
Yeah,
like
yeah,
coconut
yeah,
fibers or something
yeah,
or husk
yeah,
or something.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, terrific,
yeah, yeah.
terrific. So now that we've talked a little bit about the loofah as well and the loofah that's derived from the vegetable that's dried up, um, I know for some of us that are starting out on this journey, making decisions when it comes to our personal care products or in the bathroom. So when it comes to your soap, your toothbrush, your razor, tongue cleaner, and stuff, that seems a little bit easier than jumping into bioenzymes, I feel. So I mean, could you take us through that a little bit and just share with us how we can make these tiny swaps?
Yeah, I mean, basically, when you know that these soaps can be very harsh on your skin, on your hair, it best is to move. For me, I have my friend who lives down this road. She makes homemade soaps. I just buy from
Oh,
her. They smell so good. She puts such lovely essential oils
essential
in it,
oils.
and as simple as that. Move your soap. When you use soaps like this, you don't really need a lot of water to wash it off. Also, and it doesn't take off the oil on your skin too. So that's another benefit. And of course, next time you want to change your brush, which is plastic, always go for a bamboo one.
Bamboo.
And of course, tongue cleaners. There are powders, tooth powders that is available, so you don't have to buy the toothpaste, which has some have microplastics in it. So it's going to end up in some waterways. So we have to be mindful of what we buy. Of course, moving away from. I have all this as demo because I'm
Obviously.
constantly doing workshops talking about these. So the
Absolutely.
swaps are when you have a razor which is plastic and one time use, like you're going to discard. So use one which you
Sure.
can keep repeatedly adding on, but the razor is a bamboo one with a metal. It can be recycled. It's 100% recyclable. So we need to look at what can be recyclable, that we should make choice about. Even our clothes clips, after we wash our clothes, these plastics break, so we can replace it with a metal or a wooden cloth peg.
Absolutely.
So stuff like this, move away from brushes and combs which are plastic, but which are neem based or something like that. So I think these small swaps are very essential. It also keeps us safe, because overuse of these shampoos, which has so much of harsh chemicals in that, could actually
Eh,
damage your hair in the long run. So a lot of people complain about hair fall, graying and all these constantly. So the health is comes from what is naturally available. Your health and the planet's health is taken care of if anything that you choose consciously is something that's naturally made from natural product and not something that is going to give a lot of problems for you and the ecosystem around us.
Absolutely. No, I think these are great. And a lot of these products we tried to introduce onto our website a long time ago because right when we launched, because we felt like this is the one thing, the one change that you can make today. This is the one change that we felt we could make now. And obviously, no one is saying, like you rightfully said, no one is saying to discard or to throw away what you already have. But when it comes to making a change, instead of going back to what you've been using, try and make a more earth friendly choice, try and make a
Right.
more conscious choice. So when it comes to the bathroom, whether it's your loofahs, your combs, toothbrushes, tooth powder, tongue cleaners, even our razors, we have a lot of these options. And I think it's really great that you can show both for demonstration purposes, because it just makes the switch over and the conversion so much simpler. um, I think someone asked you just 2 minutes ago about could you share something on food storage? So I know we're segueing back for a little, but could you please share what are the different ways in which we can go on to preserve our food?
Yeah.
And how do do you recommend beeswax wraps? Do you recommend, what do you recommend to sort of keep the food intact or prevent it from being oxidized?
Okay, so I have basically I haven't used, though I have been gifted these wraps, but I haven't used. I didn't feel the need to use. So for me, it's a steel box with a
Perfect.
lid, airtight box. If I have atta that's left over, I put it in a steel box. So for me, basically, I had lot of plastic storage boxes. But I had a friend of mine who came down from. She's a scientist, and she came and did a presentation about plastic, food stored in plastic, and microwaving. Also microwaving. And she gave an example of how school children were taking hot food in plastic boxes to have lunch, and also they gave a talk in the school to the parents, and after a week when they visited, every child brought their food in steel dabbas, because the minute they knew it's going to create problems for the health of the child, the mothers immediately switched.
Made the
So that
switch.
is where that is where you need. How do you get consciousness unless you're aware? So awareness is very important, and then it pricks you every time you use it. Probably this could be. So for me, she came and made a presentation to few of us, and then we realized that we are putting hot food in plastic, we are microwaving in plastic. So that switch happened many years back for me. I now store the non food items in plastic. I haven't thrown everything away, but whatever is
Fair
there,
enough.
I had a lot of Tupperware. They may say this is BPA free.
Free.
Yeah, it could be food grade BPA free, but there's other chemicals that they add which they don't talk about. So she said you have to be very careful. So go back to days when we stored in steel, and now I put a lot of glass. Whatever when I buy a lot of things in glass. So if that gets empty, my food is stored in that. So I'm reusing glass. So anything that's reusable is good. And yeah, I think we all need to be very conscious of where we put our food in. And over a period of time, it leaches. Even carrying a plastic bottle, water is not good, because the bottle over a period of time it deteriorates, and there is leaching constantly happening into your water. So I use a lot of old wine glasses, wine bottles, and
Wine bottles.
whiskey bottles to store my water, and of course steel. You have the steel jug and all that. Yeah, so it has taken some time, but definitely I have moved away. As I said, it pricks you every time you use something that is in plastic, food in plastic. So my refrigerator, there's very little that there is plastic in mine. Maybe some dry stuff which I wash and use, I keep it in plastic, but nothing that I can directly eat. I don't put it in the plastic. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's terrific. I think we also wanted to ask you about disposing of our garbage. And I know that a lot of our bin bags and the garbage bags that um, are safer alternatives are available under at Amala. But what are your thoughts on what happens when you finish cooking or when you finish, putting away the food? What is the best way to dispose it of or waste segregation?
Right. So we at SWMRT have constantly believed, and also we went to court asking the court to, the court had actually mandated that there should be no lining in your wet waste. It should be bin to
Okay.
bin. I mean, in
Okay.
Bangalore, it is bin to bin. We have discouraged people using the black bags. Of course, now a lot of biodegradable bags and all
Correct.
those have come, but I don't believe in it because for me, how do you test? Because I have tried putting them in my compost bin and they don't break down. And they say it needs high temperatures. And so where are you taking those bags? If you're taking them high temperatures, then there is food waste in that which needs to be composted. I don't know how they're resolving the problem of the bags at all. So basically, we in Bangalore constantly discourage. We have segregation mandated. We have a three bin system. There is the green bin, which has the wet waste that comes from your kitchen,
Correct.
directly bin to bin. That's how we get, if it is apartments, they're all trained to pick up the waste into a bigger drums, which they cart and take it to the composting unit. And every apartment has to have their own composting. If they are having 100 kgs and above, it's mandated that they are. So we are in that space where we are trying to discourage people from trying to bring in, like when the plastic was banned, carry bags, there came the PP bags. It looked like cotton, like
Hmm.
cloth, and that's worse than plastic because that's a polypropylene non-woven bag. So if you're trying to resolve one problem, bringing another problem is something that we don't. So I am against anything that is single use. So even
Sure.
tissues, I use cloth, napkins. When people come, I have cocktail napkins that I can
And
put
you
back
just
to
put them
wash.
into the
So
wash.
reuse again. I don't use any tissues. So that's mine. But there are a lot of people who want. So there are tissue papers which are not bleached. Bleached
Correct.
papers take a lot of water to bring it. So probably they have the alternative. Maybe they can transition step by step.
First to
Stop
that,
using
and then
which is more intensive, resource intensive, to less one, and then maybe how can I be without? Because convenience is what we have all fallen prey to. It's so convenient to continue doing what we're doing, and the shift becomes very difficult. When we look at a larger picture on how much of resources we are using, we cut down trees to make paper. In my son's wedding, we didn't have a paper roll on the table. I put the banana leaf on the table and served people. Nobody missed the paper.
wow.
We cleaned the entire table with bioenzymes. It smelled fresh, kept clean. I trained everybody. So for me, that roll paper is a resource. That's again, they will just wrap it and it just gets discarded. So probably I go to one. We all in Bangalore, we are called econuts. My teammates, we go all the way. Try to minimize as much as possible. But I'm not saying that it's easy. It takes a mindful. Constant practice, and you will get there. One day you will get there. But in the meanwhile, whatever available that you can go for an alternative, which could just replace the thing that is more resource incentive, labor intensive, and all that. Yeah.
So you're saying that it's important for us to try something which involves minimizing the use of single-use plastic so that we end up using and reusing. And
Yes.
obviously, you prefer cloth over other materials because it's easy to wash and clean and then
Yeah,
reuse
I have
afterward.
rag cloths in my kitchen. Old kurta or something like that. That for anything. In fact, I went to Dubai long back. I bought these, and they are microfibers. And
Microfiber
and
cloths.
when I realized that, now I gone everybody. In my demo kit, I have this. I tell them this is going to constantly be giving out, and in your waterways it's going to go microplastic. So any old cotton, so soft, it absorbs well. I mean, that's how it used to be. Our pocha is to be some old banyan or something like that. It would never be something that we would buy. So I think Indian parents and grandparents were always so minimalist. They wouldn't just buy stuff. They would use till the end of its life, they would use it. So for us, it's like use and throw has become a culture, which is something that we need to move away from, because that's where we are exhausting resources, we are polluting environment, and in every way, it is not. This is not the way we need to go ahead, because we are destroying the ecosystem, and climate change is such a reality today. We need to educate ourselves, stay aware, stay conscious, so that every practice of ours will lead us to be better people on this planet. We need to be that. I always say, when I compost, it's like every day I pay a rent to live on this planet. This beautiful planet gives me air, water, soil to grow my food. And what am I giving back? Am I just going to pollute her and leave her? There are generations ahead of us who are going to live. And how the other species are getting trapped because of us. They are in jeopardy, because there is extinction of so many species, because the way we are. If bees disappear, we put so much of all the chemicals that we put, pesticides, that bees are disappearing. And if bees disappear, you will not have pollination, so you'll have food crisis. So I think somewhere we are just moving away from what we were intended to be, how we were supposed to live. It's always never too late. We can always turn back slowly. Don't get eco anxiety. Nowadays a lot of people, we hear eco anxiety, that I want to do everything, but where do I start
Don't
and
know
all.
where
So
start.
yeah, where to start, how to start, do I go all the way, or no? For me, it's taken more than 10 years of practice to be where I am, where I'm confident about, yes, every practice is so important, and I don't beat myself black and blue if I don't do something I'm supposed to do. It's okay once in a while, if you didn't have a chance to have the same practice, it's okay. So yeah, I think there is always learning. There's always a practice, and you can better yourself constantly. And it's your choice and your practice. Don't ever impose it on your
Compare
people.
or
Yeah,
impose,
on
yeah.
your friends or your family or your husbands or wives. Just don't impose. Let them learn to make the choice themselves, to take the practice. It has to go as you need to have compassion there also. They haven't got it. That's why they'll be on the fence, so they need to move. Don't pressurize. Then they will go back. They will not do it. So yeah, I think that's also important, that the choice is yours and not theirs. So don't try to be pushy just because you understood something and you learned something. Yeah.
I think you made a really nice point where you said that while you make your own like shampoo, um, people in your family use shampoo bars or soap bars and stuff like that, and how even within the same household and the same unit, you're all trying to do things that are conscious and are better for the environment, but you're choosing your own way.
Yeah.
Could you talk to us a little bit perhaps about the switch over from regular bath soap,
Yeah.
and shampoo to shampoo bars and soap bars if possible?
Yeah. So,
Just
like I have been using these natural cleaners, which I make myself, or I pick it up from people that I have a couple of brands that I'm very I like it very much, so I get it from them. And but my husband, he cannot take this. It's too it stings his eye. So
okay.
the shikakai, it stings his eye. The Rita. So I introduced him to the shampoo bar, and he's very happy. So because I stopped buying shampoo in the first place, so long back. So he's moved to shampoo bar. So yeah, it's okay. I mean, there is one thing that he will not change. That is, he will still use. He's the laundry guy in the house, so he uses the washing machine. So he will put Ariel in it. I'm okay. I don't keep telling him, no, you should not buy Ariel. When I put this liquid. I put the liquid soap nut.
You
But
put
when
this straight into the washing
yeah,
machine?
into the washing machine. The
Okay.
liquid, yeah, the liquid
Okay.
soap nut. I put it, and I all wash all my kitchen cloth and all in a small bucket in the kitchen itself.
By
I put
hand.
this, yeah, by hand, and I dry it out in the sun. Yeah, I think there is a chance for everybody to transform in your home too. They keep constantly seeing you do things, they will understand. Yeah. Uh,
I
so
think, yeah, I think it's a really beautiful way to finish what was a really lovely session. But I think my biggest takeaway from this is to do your bit, to pick up, to pick up an area you'd like to focus on and not to get completely overwhelmed. And it's okay if like everyone else that's living in your house is doing things differently. If they're doing things their way, don't impose your sort of views on them. Let them come to that on their own, because we are
Yes.
only here to sort of learn and do our best, but we're not necessarily here to sort of impose ours. A lot of people are asking about where to buy soap and shampoo bars. So a lot of these plastic free, conscious, beautiful soap and shampoo bars are actually available on Amala Earth. And some of them have essential oils, some of them are lightly scented, and I've used them personally and they're really, really good. Vaniji, before we leave, do you have any message for all of us? Anything that you'd like to share? Anything that you've maybe even read lately that you really resonated with you? Just a parting thought.
Yeah, sure. See, when I got into this, I never looked at, oh, I want to do something sustainable. I want to save the earth. Nothing. It was just for me. It was an exposure to the outside. I'm a homemaker, and I was just trying to explore what is outside home. But when I got into this space of trash, it was completely I was consumed by it because I heard one sentence long back. This was 15 years back, that we do not inherit this planet, but we borrow it from our future, and the future is not yet come. And when you have borrowed something from somebody, you either give it the way you received it or
Or
make it
better.
better. Don't tear that book around, and then you have borrowed a book from your friend. You don't tear it, spoil it, put coffee, tea on it, and then give it. No, you make sure that you preserve it. You take care of it, and then you hand it over to them. In the best way you can. Maybe put a new cover. And put a little dry rose in between, and make it lovely, and then give that book. So it's same thing. The planet is for so many generations and so many species that need to be, alive and, thriving on this beautiful planet. So we should not feel, kind of, we own this planet and we can do what we want with it. We have to be conscious on how we live on this planet and what we leave behind for the future. So I would only say that because that made a huge impact. It never went out of my head. So everything that I do is I want to leave a better future for the future.
I think that's a beautiful parting thought, and I'm sure it's touched all our listeners today. Thank you so much for having us, for taking time out to sort of talk to us today and to share your tips with us. And I'm sure all of us at Amala Earth and all the audience and listeners listening in today will look forward to many more conversations like this. Thank you so much, Vani
Thank you,
ji, and
Jia.
look
Thank you,
forward to
Jia.
speaking with you real soon. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone,
Thank
for
you. I
joining
must
in.
thank Gunjan for getting in touch with me, and please give her my regards. So,
Absolutely, absolutely.
thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. If you'd like to know more, please feel free to log on to Amala Earth and have a look at our Instagram channel if you'd like to follow along on our journey. Thank you. Stay well,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.